Week 7 waiver wires here. We got more injuries, more bye weeks, but don't trip. I got you. I'm going to get you through this. But first, welcome to the playlist. Thank you for kicking it. I am Jim Z, and this is Fantasy on Repeat. And again, first off, I want to say thank you for being here because this is how you win fantasy football right here. The waiver wire is just so important. If you don't know, there was a guy that came off the waiver wire who just dropped 30 fantasy points back to back. He's like, you know what? Boom, check me out. And you want pieces like that, right? So I'm going to go through each position and talk about these players that have the potential to provide you fantasy points and let you know that your season's not over yet because you got to play the game. And first off, we're going to talk about running backs. I'm going to talk about Kimani Vidal. He showed his true colors. And if you know, Hampton is on IR. And when you go on IR, that's the injury reserve. You're basically put on that tag, you're going to be put out for 4 weeks. And now they're saying that Hampton might be out 4 weeks plus some more weeks on top of that. So this injury might be a little bit serious. A good baseline to have for fantasy points is you want at least 15 to 20 touches because that's going to provide you some fantasy points. So again, he's at 22. That is elite. And the thing about the Chargers offense is that they are a top tier offense. And this week, Kimani Vidal, he provided you 22.8 fantasy points. That is a dub. He's my priority at this week, and I just think you should get him on your team because he is going to be the number one on this squad until Amaron Hampton gets his ankle back attached to his foot. Kimani Vidal is going to provide you a lot of fantasy points until the time being. The next running back on the list is going to be Bam Knight because, look, he had back-to-back touchdowns. I know it's very volatile to count on touchdowns, but he is being used in this offense. And the Cardinals carousel, it's been a mess. Everyone said get Trey Benson. Everyone said get Michael Carter. Now everyone's saying get Bam Knight. But hey, man, he produced. He proved that he can produce on this team. And Bam Knight, he had 13 opportunities. That's an asset. I already said that the benchmark for a good player is about 15 to 20 touches. He got 13 opportunities. That's not far off. And he gave you 12.4 fantasy points, which is almost like a point per touch, which is very efficient, and that is good in fantasy football. Last running back on this list is going to be Kyle Monangai. And the thing about him, he hasn't even played yet. But I did mention he could be the next Bucky. Look, Kyle Monangai could give you RB1 numbers out of nowhere. He'll be up in the cut and giving you fantasy points. You're like, oh, where did this come from? But hey, if Ben Johnson said that he trusts him to come out and break out during the fall, if you didn't know, it is fall now. It's officially fall. It's football season, and it's time to look into this. Coach speak, you listen, and just keep eyes on him, okay? So please pop off, Kyle, man. Do the right thing. Just pop off for the fantasy community. Next, we're going to go up to the wide receiver position, man. We're going to talk about Kayshon Boutte, man. And I played against Drake May, so I felt this pain directly in my heart. But Kayshon Boutte has been a superior prospect since way back. He has high draft capital, and he hasn't shown out yet. And this might be his time. And Drake May is playing like prime Brady right now. He let Kayshon Boutte get 5 for 93 and 2 touchdowns. Kayshon Boutte right now is wide receiver 3 on the week. And a teammate of Kayshon Boutte and Drake May is going to be Pop Douglas. If you watch all day, Drake May was getting praised and all the comparisons about what he can do in this offense and what it reminds you of, you want to be attached to that. And what Pop Douglas did, he went 3 for 71 and a touchdown. Those two are my main pickups right there because you want to be attached to this offense that is ascending, and they're showing their true colors that they can be a very potent offense. And my next wide receiver I'm going to talk about is Jalen Coker. The thing about him is that he's on the IR currently, and so what you can do is like a fantasy cheat code is you pick him up, you throw him in your IR, and you'll have an extra space on your bench, or you can pick up another potential blow-up player and have him there, and if Jalen Coker doesn't work out, you can just drop him, right? You just want to watch for this potential breakout because the Panthers, man, they're a good offense, right? They just have a bad rep, and they're not even full effect yet. And if you remember, they picked up Hunter Renfrow, who was just chilling on his couch, letting his kid watch Bluey, and he still came and produced for this team. What makes you think that Jalen Coker is not ready to do that for this team? He's ready to play, and this team could be something that's just not expected and a second half blow-up team. And it's a very long season, but we're about halfway through, and we can pick up a player that hasn't even played yet and has so much potential on this offense. Everyone's talking about Ted McMillan, and he popped off finally. And now what makes you like – you can just have Jalen Coker on the free, and no one's even thinking about picking him up or talking about him, that it's just a smart stash. If you're going to let OG Hunter Renfrow come in and produce, Jalen Coker could do the same thing. And my next wide receiver I'm going to talk about is Kameron Johnson, man. He has a 100% catch rate with Baker Mayfield and opportunity for the win. Moves over Miami. Denny's is open 24/7, and everyone's going and stopping by. That means that Kameron Johnson, his opportunities are going to go up. He's reliable. He's there. He's going to be a part of this offense, and you want to be attached to this offense. And the same thing with Tez Johnson, man. Keeping up with the Johnsons. Another person, he had a crazy effort for his touchdown, and keyword is the health is wealth. And he believes that he is an MVP caliber himself. He doesn't know why himself, but again, you want to be attached to Baker Mayfield, who's playing out of his mind right now. Okay. All right, we're gonna get into the tight ends now. We're gonna talk about AJ Barner. He was in last week's waiver wire video. He was also in my sneaky sleepers episode. He's valuable. He is efficient. He went 3 for 3 on 71 yards. He got you 10 fantasy points with no touchdowns. And he has so many various contributions. He can give you volume, yardage, or touchdowns. He is not dependent. He is dependable. Another tight end we got is going to be Jake Tonges. And again, he was also mentioned in my Sneaky Sleepers episode. He went 6 for 58 yards and no touchdown. You got to check out the practice reports, because is Kittle going to be on full deployment with how injury riddled that the Niners are? They might take him slow, and then Jake Tonges is going to benefit from this. Keep your eyes out. The next tight end we got is going to be Michael Mayer, and it's just in time because it's spooky season, as I mentioned before. But he's just a spot start that provides fantasy gold. He gave you 5 for 50 and a touchdown. If you look at Bauer's knee too, man, it was braced up. So you should be ready for Michael Mayer to just pop off and provide fantasy gold until Bowers is fully healthy. And my next tight end on the list is going to be Harold Fannin, who just gave you back-to-back production. And he's starting to show chemistry with the rookie quarterback. He's giving you a minimum of 11.3 fantasy points a week. And this week, Harold Fannin provided you with targets and yardage, giving you a 7 for 81 yard line with no touchdowns. That's good enough to be tight end 6 on the week. And my last position I'm going to talk about is quarterbacks. And the first player I'm going to talk about is Jaxson Dart, man. They woke up the sleeping giant in the Big Apple City. And starting Jackson is not a dart throw, because we've hit the bullseye with him, man. He's had 2 out of 3 games giving you QB1 numbers. He's provided a touchdown in every single game. He has a minimum of 7 rushes for 54 yards, and he has 2 rushing touchdowns so far. And last Thursday Night Football, he gave us QB3 production and providing you 23.6 fantasy points, taking down the reigning world champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. He's on a roll, and I'm telling you, these Giants are fun to watch, and you want fun players on your squad that can provide you fantasy points and just have a lot of upside. It's just this is what makes fantasy football fun, right? Having players like this. The next quarterback I'm gonna talk about is Daniel Jones, who just got freed from the Giants, but is now becoming a man. And I love this for him because Daniel Jones is showing that he is a very good quarterback. And it's cool too that he can sprinkle on a little bit of rushing. That's not gonna hurt you. It's just gonna provide a lot of upside. And Daniel Jones is going to take on the Chargers, who just let Tua, of all people, drop 205 yards. And we know that Daniel Jones is way better than Tua at this point. And my last quarterback on this list is going to be Sam Darnold, because he just has something to prove. He has nearly dropped 300 yards back-to-back and with multiple touchdowns. And JSN is on an insane run at this moment. And he's going up against the Texans. This should just be straight fireworks. All right, that's it. Week 7, that's my waiver wire video episode, man. I feel like a lot of these players got fantasy gold embedded in them, where they can just provide you a lot of fantasy points. And just know that your season is not over yet. You can make a turnaround at any day, any week. A lot can happen. A lot can change in fantasy football. Do not give up. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, though. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for real. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let's chop it up. Who you trying to pick up this week? What do you need? And if you need more, I got the trade video coming up next, so if you want to peep that out. But until then, Jimzy is out. Fantasy on repeat. Peace.